Okay, we are going.
Woohoo!
Jamie,
Hey.
thank you for doing this.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you for having a platform where we can do these kinds of things. I really appreciate it.
It's amazing. It's wonderful.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to, I approached you because I just felt like there was a need for um, people to understand what's happening. I feel like there's so much uncertainty right now. There's so much happening energetically. And being able to explain that to people, I feel like if people can understand what's happening, they're going to feel some peace in that, even if they're not crazy about what's happening. So I felt like if I could share that with people, that would be really helpful to them. And also as a coach, always wanting to, I always have all these tools in my tool belt and I want to share them with everyone. And so being able to, I thought, well, we can talk about the energy and what's happening, but also provide tools so that people can use them to find some kind of balance, because I feel like, we're so used to looking outside of ourselves for that, and it's not available anymore. And that's because we're really being asked to go within. And so the tools really are about getting us back to who we are, love, using our intuition, connecting us to our soul self. And so thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Well, and I'm so grateful that you're doing it, because I know for me, I found that especially this weekend, moving into this weekend, I'm tired and I'm sensitive, and a lot of stuff is coming up.
Yes.
And
yes,
I'm just
yes.
going, I'm literally laying down in bed going, I am love, I am love, I am love. And then when that doesn't work, I just go grab some Hendrix and soda. No, I'm kidding.
Yes. Right.
No.
That exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, so the energy this weekend, we had an eclipse this weekend, which I'll talk a little bit more about, but the energy was very intense and uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and it was the third in a row within 4 weeks. So the energy's been amping up. It's been very intense. Yes, Barbara, would you like to say something?
How long is this energy going to be intense from these eclipses? Because I
Well,
know they've had 3, but is it going to continue? That's what I want to know, because I know it was really intense. And then I'll mute myself.
Okay. So the energy, it's interesting because eclipse energy can actually, it can take time to unfold. It's like the initial energy comes in, and then actually the changes that occur from it can unfold over the next 6 months. But I think one of the things that makes the energy very intense right now too is that Mars just moved into Aries on top of everything else that's happening. And so, Aries is Mars's home, and it's a very happy there, but also very fiery, very, passionate. It can be impatient. And I think it's just adding to the intensity of this weekend, because that's what the energy is. It's very intense. And so it just adds to it's amplifying whatever's happening. So yeah, it's been pretty darn crazy. So the truth is, any changes that, that are meant to be happening in your life, they're going to unfold over the next 6 months, to answer your question. But I just wanted to say, congratulations to everyone that we made it through the first half of this year, because it's been a doozy. And because of that Aries energy, it's actually, the second half is probably going to be a little crazier. It's going to be maybe more intense. I know. I was saying to Barbara, should I say that? Do you think I should tell them that? Because I'm not sure that we're going to make it through this. But this year of 2020 is about making permanent changes, and it's painful. It's uncomfortable. People, as much as we know things need to change, nobody really wants to change. It's really hard. And so in order to, change, humanity in a sense, it takes some really big, giant energies, and that's what's happening. And so it makes us feel uncomfortable sometimes. But on the other hand, as souls, we did choose, to come and be a part of this. And, you know, we knew that it probably wasn't going to be the easiest thing to do. But, you know, we came here knowing that we came here to awaken to who we truly are, you know, and to be in our power and to align with, you know, our higher self. So, you know, like I said earlier, we're used to looking outside of ourselves. And so this energy is just pushing us to go within, you know, to go within, to connect to who we are. And because that's where the information is. That's where the peace is, the joy, everything, all of it. That's where all of it is. I just realized that my computer is unplugged, so hold on just a second. It's gonna die.
Plug into the energy. Wow. I know it's so interesting for me too, because I'm not afraid of changing, but I've changed so much that it seems like, is there more to let go of? There's more. Oh my gosh, there's more. And with everything shifting around, I think it's almost even harder to imagine. And this might actually be a good thing. I don't know. What do you think? That how that change will look. You know, if you think, oh, maybe I'm supposed to move from this house and I'm supposed to move over here, if you want to take a real linear look at it. But all the housing situation is going crazy. Like everything that was normal is not even normal.
Exactly.
So, and maybe that's the way it should be, because what we're moving into has never existed before.
That's right. That's exactly right. The energy is not the same. We've never done this before. And so it is, we're kind of just feeling our way through, you know, and again, it's really changing the way we're operating and the way that we're changing the way we're operating. And then there's so much there's just so many things changing. I mean, even as the energy shifts and everything, we're changing on a cellular level too. So our bodies are going through huge changes, and that can be uncomfortable. You know,
is anybody else feeling that? Like, you could just type it in the chat if you want. Is anybody else feeling their bodies going through massive changes? Mine is for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's sometimes when they were talking about the symptoms of COVID, I was like, I wake up every day feeling like that for months.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
So it's, you know, aches and pains, things like that. So, yeah. So there's just so many, and there's so much uncertainty, and it's about trusting, and it's about trusting blindly in a lot of ways. And we're not used to doing that. We are not used to it at all. And it's very uncomfortable. But it's just interesting about this year, because this year, 2020 started a decade. And so, you know, it's this 2 energy, which we're moving to a heart-based consciousness. We're moving out of our minds and operating from our heart. And it's going to take some time, obviously, before we fully embody that. But this year is starting this decade where we're going to have this focus. It's 2 energy, and 2 energy is about peace and harmony and partnership and doing it together. And you can see it's already starting in some ways. People have really been helping each other out, and you know, connecting to people. And I think thankful, you know, for Zoom, because I probably have talked to my family more in the last 6 months than I have in a long time, just because we're always so busy. So it's been, you know, being able to make those connections with people, but understanding that the time of doing things by ourselves is over. We must do it together. And that's what we're learning too. As this next decade unfolds with this 2 energy, we're going to be brought more and more in doing things together harmoniously. But the other thing about this year specifically is that 2020 is, you know, obviously about clarity. It's about seeing things, you know, it's about opening our eyes. And so many things are coming to light, and you know, anything that's hidden or been kind of swept under the rug is coming to light. You know, where we had our head in the sand. So in so many ways, you know, and those things are all coming to light. You know, I think a lot of things are going to be revealed in the coming years. You know, things are not always as they seem. You know, but again, it's asking us, okay, how do we want to show up? and what's important here, and how do we connect, again, to who we are. 2020 specifically, astrologers have known for many years that this was going to be a huge game-changing year. It's a 4 universal year in numerology, and in astrology, it's very heavily influenced by Capricorn, and that energy, the 4 in Capricorn is pretty much the same energy. But what it's doing is, so this year we're being asked to look at how are we showing up in the physical, because 4 is very physical energy, and so is Capricorn. How are we actually showing up as individuals, but also as a humanity? It highlights the foundations that we've built. Everything, all the foundations of everything are coming into question. How are we out of integrity? That's a loaded question.
Wow.
Like what systems are working and aren't working? Education, healthcare, law enforcement, our government. It's all, all these things are coming up to revisit. And so in a sense, we're going through a deconstruction in a way, because we're looking at all these things. What do we need to change? How are we going to change this? This energy also highlights our moral compass. What's the right thing to do? And sometimes you just don't know, you know what I mean? So I just feel like everything is shifting and changing. And the things that we based that on, I think, are kind of changing. So it's really just going back to love. It's making us go back to love. What's true? What's truth? Love. That's it. Yeah. But this year is also, 4 energy is very restrictive. And so is Capricorn. It's about following the rules. Capricorn is a taskmaster, and how are you, lining up? How are you showing up? And it can feel restrictive. And you can see through quarantine, we've already felt this. And it's likely that it's probably going to go back to that. Although there will be still some restriction. I don't know if it's going to be through quarantine or something else. But the other thing is this energy looks at abuse of power. You can already start to see things coming to light. This actually has started a few years ago, but more and more of this will be coming to light. I think that in the next 6 months, there will be a lot of things actually that come to light. But really, it's asking us, or it's making us look at our behaviors and our beliefs, and it's putting everything under a microscope. How are you showing up?
Jaime, is that, in terms of how we do this, because I know for me, because I'm pretty singular right now, I don't have a family at home, my kids are grown. Mm-hmm. So I'm able to kind of move in and out of these broken systems in a way, kind of unscathed a little bit, but it's getting harder and harder to do that. Mm-hmm. And so as we watch the systems crumble, and as we watch them like tightening up in ways that are absurd. I just looked at this post from a mayor from a city in Northern California that just said the news is lying to you. Mm-hmm. Journalism is dead. You are not going to be given a ticket if you don't wear a mask. It's against, the governor does not have the right to make that law across the board. And it's not even on the, when you click on the link, it just says, here are the suggested guidelines, masks. That's an example, right? Mm-hmm. So you see all this stuff coming, trying to restrict you down. And in some cases, we are being restricted. So what are we personally being asked to do in our lives in those circumstances? Because some people are, they're marching on the Capitol steps. Some people are just refusing certain things. And some people are also, looking within as to what our own beliefs are around mm-hmm. these things.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I do think that we all play a different role. You know what I mean? I think you have to look and see what resonates with you. And I think this is what the question you're asking. So it's funny because all these things are happening, and there's a part of me that feels like, oh my gosh, I need to be a part of these things. I should be fighting, or I should be doing this, or this cause I believe in, I should be a part of it. But the truth is, I know deep down that my role is to be light. I'm not meant to be fighting stuff. I'm meant to be light and I know that, but then my ego goes, oh, but you're not doing enough, and people are going to think you don't care, and blah, 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 blah. But the truth is, I know, I just know that's my role. And so that's the place I try to go to. And is that the question you were asking?
Yes. So, as we negotiate certain systems, like with the contact tracing and stuff like that, when it comes around, if we have a vote in it, or if we have an action that we can take? How do we know which action to take outwardly? And of course, we always take the action inwardly, but how do we know when to take action outwardly?
That's a really good question. I really think it's just going to be, I don't know. I think that's in question. You know what I mean? Like, how do we know what the right things are? You know, I think that's part of it, because I think we have in the past just gone along with, you know, for some political party, or, you know, regardless of what they think, or we just kind of go along with things. And now, I mean, I think that's all being called into question. You know what I mean? Like, how do I really feel about this? What do I really think about this?
Right.
You know, and all these issues are so huge, you know what I mean, about a vaccine, or wearing a mask, or, you know, just what's happening with, you know, George Floyd and all that stuff. And how do we feel? And, you know, how do we play a part in all of this? And it's just, and so that's part of it, is just going back to our truth. You know what I mean? And I think we have to check in and get good at that. You know, so we'll know the right thing for us. I mean, that's just my opinion.
You have to get into your own guidance system with that.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, it's been because I have this warrior energy that's like, stand up and don't give me crap. Have the balls. Sorry.
Yeah.
Some of you don't know this side of me. Have the balls to stand up in what you know to be true. And there's this other side of me that needs to just sit back and shift it within myself and ask the question, how are you really perceiving this? And are you willing to question it? So it's like, which one feels like a push and which one feels like an invitation? Is it the same guidance system?
Right. Does anybody else have anything a thought or an opinion about it?
One of the things for me that is the most almost visceral is if the decision that we're making is based in fear, or if we can feel the manipulation of fear, I become very mindful of that. So because fear can be very manipulative. And so what's happening, I think, very much so in what's happening in our world right now through different news outlets or whatever, if they're feeding you fear, be mindful of it. Like, take the facts, walk away from it, and drop into your heart, move into a place of love, and then re-look at it. Because when we look at something from the eyes of fear, our decision will be different than if we look at it from a place of love.
Yes, absolutely.
But you really have to be mindful of when it triggers fear in you, and usually you'll feel it in your body. So for me, it gets very visceral. I could actually feel it.
Yeah.
So the more we become aware of that, then our guidance system becomes more and more in alignment. And once we're in alignment, then it becomes more automatic, because you're always operating from a place of love, unity, truth, and justice, always.
Yes.
So
that
is what we're honing. I think we're honing those skills.
Yes.
So we're looking at it like for me, I'm looking at it like it's a school. We're mastering it now.
Yes. Good. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I need a recess if we're in school. I need a nutrition break.
Aw. Okay. Yeah. Aw. No, so that was some really good points. Thank you. I knew, Barbara, I knew you had something to say. Anyway, so we talked a little bit about the eclipses, energy that we've been experiencing. I mean, the first one, it's kind of funny how they all fall right into line, of course. I mean, it's all divinely perfect. But the first one was in June 5th. And this one was asking us to really look at our belief system, because we are being opened up to a new area of growth in our lives, a new direction. New energy is going to bring awareness for us. I know that there's been, over the last month or so, people like quitting their jobs and going, oh my God, this isn't what my soul wants me to do, completely out of alignment with their soul. And so I feel like some of this energy at the beginning of June brought up a lot of this for people. You know, how do I want to spend my time? I think also being in quarantine really brought up all this stuff for people because they were just, your life completely changed. You weren't, you know what I mean? Like, oh, God, I mean, I'm so happy my kids play sports, but I loved not having my life to be ruled by soccer. You know what I mean? So it was really great. You know, and anyway, but but it's just like, you know, we're being given this opportunity to do things differently and to go in a completely different direction. The second eclipse was on June 21st. This was a new moon solar eclipse in Cancer. And it's kind of started this theme that we're in now because we're in Cancer energy. And it's the feminine energy. It's the same energy as the 2 energy that's going to be a part of this decade that I talked about earlier. And it's this loving and trusting and nurturing. And it's about opening our hearts and, you know, looking at your emotional growth. It's about family. It's about healing. And making changes within that help you to blossom. And then we have this third one today. This is really interesting too. This one was about, and this might be why it was more difficult than the others, but this one was about a massive clearing of a cycle that started 5 years ago. So this one was about a closing out and a completion energy. And so this is something that you're finally ready to shift. So I wouldn't think that it would be so hard because you're ready to shift it. But, you know, I don't know. Sometimes we think we're ready, but we're not really ready.
You know, 5 years ago, Jaime, 5 years ago is when I started on this, when I just like walked away from everything. And so I've been wandering. And now, so are you saying, okay, be done with the wandering? Somewhere out there's a man for me?
Yeah, well, we talked about this, but I'm just teasing you. Yeah, I mean, there could be. Are you ready to shift into that?
Yeah.
Only you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's about it's about having clarity around what you're ready to shift into.
Right, exactly. Yes, absolutely. Yes. But also be willing to let go because the new isn't going to come until you let go of the old.
Yep.
But this energy is going to make you do that. That's the thing, which is why people are very, you know, end up being very uncomfortable, I think. So we talked a little bit about, you know, the Aries energy, kind of amping up the second part of the year. And so for the next month, it's going to be a little bit of a push and pull because July is actually a 7 energy. And also we have this Cancer energy. It's the same kind of energy, really. It's about being introspective. It's about going within. It slows things down. And this Aries is going to be like, what? Going to be totally impatient. You know, but we are going through a very deep reprogramming right now. And so this energy is going to give us a time to work on ourselves. It's going to give us a time to get into alignment with who we really are, where we're going, and who we want to go with. Okay. So one of the things that you can do with this Aries energy is give it something to focus on because it's going to be intense. You know, and so, and give it something to focus on that you can control because feels like right now there's very little that we can control. But because our bodies, and I said this earlier, our bodies are going through this huge cellular shift and change. And so, you know, have the Aries energy focus on your body. What does your body need? Because Aries is about action. And so your body can take action, whether it's just stretching or changing your diet or starting to run or whatever resonates with you. But it'll help you to get rid of some of that Aries energy, but also at the same time, you know, allow you to really be in the Cancer energy of just really going within. But I mean, ultimately, regardless of what's happening with the astrology, understand that it's all in divine order. You know, we agreed to it. It's all about opening up a new way of life, doing it better, living from our hearts. So just be patient and loving and nurturing with yourself, really. I mean, we're learning a new way of operating. So just be kind to yourself. Right, Barbara? Mm-hmm. Does anybody have any questions about the astrology and the energy or the numerology? No. All right. Okay. So yes, Miss Marie. I can't hear you.
I think you're on mute, Mary.
No, she's not muted. I think, yeah, I think it's your microphone or something.
Yeah.
She's going to type it in. I'll read it. I'll read it out
Okay.
loud.
Okay.
She says she's an Aries. Is that meaningful?
Yeah, definitely. Well, because Aries is, it kind of depends on where your chart, where it all lines up in your chart, your personal chart. But yeah, I mean, because Aries is your sun sign. So when it's in its home, when Mars is in Aries, it's happy. They're happy together. And so, yeah, for sure. I mean, you can definitely stand in that Aries energy. It's definitely use that energy to empower yourself. Absolutely, for sure. I know you will. Were there other questions that came up? I thought I saw something, but
Sonia was asking, how do the planets shifting affect your energy?
oh gosh.
I think that's what you've been talking about.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. And it just depends on, it really depends on the alignment. I mean, the truth is, we could talk about it all night long. There's so much happening right now. I mean, all these planets are in retrograde. But I just knew that I just wanted to kind of give a quick overview of the most dominant kind of energy that was influencing us right now. And so I didn't kind of get into too much, but there are lots of sites that you can go to and have your, where you can put in for free and calculate your chart. And they're actually pretty good. They'll give you a lot of information about your own chart and the placement of the planets. And then there are a lot of, there are astrologers that I follow. My favorite one is, her name is Molly McCord. I know she's on Blog Talk Radio, but I know she's also on YouTube. And she's really good. And so you can learn a lot about what's happening, because my expertise is actually numerology. But when I talk about the energy like day to day, I just gravitate more towards the astrology. For numerology, for me, it's really, my expertise is in people's personal numerology, and not so much kind of on a bigger scale. But anyway, so now I just wanted to talk a little bit about heart connection. That was, the theme of this call, and just talk about how amazing, really, truly amazing our hearts are, and how incredibly powerful they are. We kind of feel like our hearts are just, this muscle that's in our body, but they actually do a lot of things. And what's awesome too about this is that I'm going to teach you a little technique tonight that helps you to align your heart with your brain. And we call that heart coherence. And it's a very powerful. And so, and we're totally supported in the Cancer energy right now, the Cancer energy of love. So learning how to use this technique. But what we know about the heart is that the heart is a technology, and our heart actually has 40,000 neurons. And they're so concentrated that they are referred to as a little brain in the heart. And they operate independently of the brain. And the interesting thing is that the heart actually communicates with the brain more than the brain communicates with the heart. It's 60 times more powerful electrically and up to 5,000 times more powerful magnetically than the brain. And in fact, every organ is entrained to the heart. So if you're out of alignment, if your heart is, not beating the way it's supposed to, if you're stressed out, then the other organs that are trying to follow the heart, are out of alignment too. And so, and that's how, if that happens for a long period of time, that's how, disease can start in our bodies. But it's interesting because the heart actually affects our brain functions, because it's always sending signals. It's always sending signals to the brain. And that's really, truly how powerful the heart is. It's pretty amazing. But, we're so conditioned to operate from our minds, from our brain. And it's interesting because, and you can see this happening right now too, that our brains don't like change at all. We, especially change that we can't control. And so what happens is it triggers our stress response. And you're seeing this with people. Everybody feels stressed out. It sends us into fear. It sends us into doubt. And the idea is that when we operate or we go through our mind, when we process everything through our mind, we get stuck in the limitations of our mind. We get stuck in ego. We get stuck in self-doubt. But if we're connecting to the intelligence of the heart, it shifts the rhythms of the heart and it sends a different message and signal to the brain. And this harmonizes the heart and the brain. And it bypasses the ego and the limitations, which is pretty amazing. So by connecting to the heart and harmonizing the heart and the brain, we're creating this heart coherence. And this is where the heart, the mind, and the emotions are all in alignment. The heart coherence connects us to who we truly are. It's our intuition, it's our higher guidance, to peace, to love. It takes us right to that higher wisdom that's trusting these changes. This higher wisdom, who we really are, understands what's happening here. So we can connect. We can, through the heart, we can connect right to that guidance and completely bypass our mind and get right to that place of peace and love and knowing and clarity. And so, besides that part of it, it also gives us access to information outside of what we understand, the realm of what we've learned. It opens the door to other possibilities, other ways of creating things, seeing solutions, seeing our lives and seeing the world. And with this, we can make real change in our lives. I know sometimes we try to make changes with our mind, and it's really almost impossible to do that. We try and we make little changes, but I wanted to teach you this technique that I found by Greg Braden. He is he's a New Age author. He's a thought leader, and he connects spirituality and science. And so he talks about this he calls it an ancient technique for harmonizing our heart and our brain. And it's just 3 steps. And what I love about it is it's so simple, but it works so well. In fact, I sometimes will do it, at my desk. If I just at work, if I need to take a break, or I actually used it today when I was getting really nervous about the call today. I probably used it about 20 times today. But I wanted to share this with you because it's so simple, but it's so amazing. Amazingly effective. So I'm just going to ask everyone to just kind of just take a couple of deep breaths and just come center. So the first step is to touch your heart. Just touch your heart and take a deep breath. By touching your heart, it takes the awareness from your mind and puts it to your heart. The awareness goes to the place where you feel the sensation or the touch. The second step is to slow your breathing. The only time that you slow your breathing is when you feel safe. So by slowing your breathing, you're just telling your body, I'm safe. And it tells it to let go of the stress hormones. It actually awakens the healing chemistry, because our bodies can only do one thing. They can only feel stress, or they can heal. This also boosts our immune system and activates the anti-aging hormones. The third step is feeling, and this is a very powerful step. We're going to create a feeling in your heart, right where you feel the touch, where you're breathing. To the best of your ability, to feel one or any combination of the following 4 feelings. Care for anything or anyone. Appreciation for anything or anyone. Gratitude or compassion. Care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion. Researchers have found that these 4 key words will trigger the experience between our heart and our brain to create that coherence. So to the best of your ability, feel those feelings as you breathe from your heart center and the place where you feel the touch. This act is the key to the deepest truth to who you are as an individual and who you are in this world. This is where the super learning comes from, the creating comes from, creating something new. This gives you resilience to a changing world. Care, appreciation, gratitude, and compassion. This triggers 1,300 biochemical reactions, anti-aging hormones to immune response to cardiovascular health. What's so amazing is that the biochemical connections that are initiated last for 6 hours. Care, appreciation, gratitude, and compassion. I'm going to take a few more deep breaths. How's everyone feeling? Good.
Yes, I needed that. Thank you.
So good. So good. Does anyone have any questions about the heart connection, the heart? Go ahead.
Sonia was asking, what is the first word? It was care.
Care.
Of the 4 words, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Marie Taylor's feeling peaceful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really powerful connection. And we can do so much with it. And it's already this technology that we have. It's a part of who we are.
I'm going to type the 4 words in here.
Okay.
So it's care,
Appreciation.
compassion, appreciation, yep,
And gratitude.
and gratitude. And Greg says he doesn't use the word love because the word love is so confusing for everybody, right? Care, compassion, appreciation, gratitude. There we go. Yeah.
And I think it's actually, love can be a word, and Barbara and I were talking about this earlier. It can be a word that people don't know how to feel.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so that was, what I wanted to leave you with. But I also wanted to mention the Heart Empowered calls because it's using the same idea, but just doing it in a group setting. Barbara, do you want to talk about that? Barbara is our
Jaime.
leader. She's our Heart Empowered
Jaime?
call leader.
Yes, she is.
So we've been doing some heart empowered calls, and we're going to be continuing them. We're just offering them through Human Harmonics. It's the 1st and 3rd Monday. And what we do is we connect in that heart field that Jaime just so beautifully created. And then we journey together, and spirit comes through and gives messages and guides the journey for whatever is needed at the time, for ourselves personally and for the collective consciousness. So if you'd like to join tomorrow, I'm not sure if it's up on Human Harmonics right now. I hope it is.
I think it's going up there.
Okay.
I didn't see it on there yet. I checked earlier.
So, or else you can find me on my Facebook page, which is I Am Activated. And I could message you the link. It's just a Zoom link. So it has been up on Human Harmonics because I was doing it every Monday through the quarantine, but it feels so powerful, and it's been very, very transformational for me. And I've gotten some really good feedback that I've decided to continue them. So we're just going to be continuing them the 1st and the 3rd Monday. So if you can't find it on Human Harmonics, it should be up by tomorrow. Then you could find me on Facebook at I Am Activated.
And is it going to be 5 p.m. Pacific time?
Yes, exactly. Yes. 5 p.m. Pacific. Yes. 6 o'clock my time. Yep.
That's wonderful. And just so everybody knows, we're organizing more over at Human Harmonics. And those heart empowered calls they're so powerful. I want to start getting back on them again, because when there's something happens when there's more people, like the more and more and more people, it's really, you start moving as this group. It's really, really powerful. So thank you for that, Barbara.
Yes.
And any of you guys that are here, I know Jay, you're here, Sonia, you guys are all here at most everything we put up. And we are in the process of trying to organize more so that technologically we can get ourselves together. We have so many amazing people, Jaime and Barbara and Brian, and we have so much to offer, but we're on the lookout for more technological support so we can bring it forth in a more organized manner. So thank you guys for your patience.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So, does anyone have any questions? Anything I talked about?
Someone just asked me, Barbara, is it the same link as before? Yes, it is. We're going to just use the same link. Yeah. Sorry, Jaime. Thank you.
No, that's okay.
Thank you, Jaime. That was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really awesome.
Yeah,
I really needed that.
Yeah, good. So next week we're going to talk about the power of movement. So I don't know, maybe you should bring your dancing shoes. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Bring your dancing shoes and bring more people too. Like if you guys have other people that you think would benefit from this, I think we need a collective energy to put more energy into these. Sonia says, she loves Human Harmonics and everything that we do. And we do too. And we could use the focus on that to help energize it for sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Good.
Any other questions?
Recording's going to be up on YouTube, on your YouTube channel.
Yes. Yeah, we will be putting it up on the YouTube channel. Yep.
And that's great because that will help get the word out as well to more people.
Yeah. Good.
Or maybe they could just tap into the energy as well.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. You can definitely do that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, everyone. It was really great. It was fun. Thank you, Nia, Barbara, Sonia, Danny, Jay, Marie.
Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Thank
next
you so
week.
much.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.